Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hello. I am Madhur Agarwal. Currently, I am working as an analyst at Deloitte India in technology and transformation function. Today I'll be talking about Microsoft Copilot Studio. So, this is one of the episode series of season of AI 2.0, which is a community copilot by Microsoft. So, let's delve right into the session. I hope everything is fine. So yeah, okay. So before I'll start with the Copilot Studio, I would start with a little bit about the Microsoft Power Platform. So Microsoft Power Platform is a suite of services which is extensively used in the industry. Even my company uses all of the Microsoft Power Platform tools. So these are the Power apps that are Power Automate, Power BI, Copilot Studio is one of these Power Platform apps, and Power Pages, Power FX, Managed Environments, Microsoft Dataverse, AI Builder, data connectors. All of these things coherently make up the all of the data pipelining, data analyzing, data analytics, and all the data visualizing process much faster, easier, and comprehensible. So the Microsoft Power Platform has this Copilot Studio, which helps you integrate intelligent agents in your might be data pipelining process, or might be your applications, maybe your .NET applications, Java applications, and all of that. So, co-pilots and conversational AI, we will be talking about it. So, we have agents that are provided by Copilot Studio. Then it can be extended to Microsoft 365. Then we have apps of Power Platform, and then other Microsoft Copilots. So, Copilot Studio is a suite for all the Copilots and conversational AI systems that are provided in the Microsoft ecosystem. So it can help you that you can access the Copilot Studio by visiting Copilot Studio. So let's start with Microsoft Copilot Studio, what it is, what it does, how it can help you in bringing your apps, elevating them to the next level, how you can integrate it into your industry level applications, workloads, so that you can make it more better, I would say. Before that, we are going to talk about what is a Copilot. So, a Copilot is basically an AI-powered conversational interface that is built over the LLMs, large language models, and have knowledge bases as their source. So, it is, of course, a powerful AI companion. So, it can handle a large range of requests, which can provide you different types of responses according to your input that is being given to the LLM. So this LLM will help you integrate your applications. So let's take an example for a food delivery app. So if you are running a food delivery businesses, so you must be having a large number of requests that you would have to handle regardless of the manpower that you have behind the scenes. So you can in fact integrate the Copilot Studio using the Copilot Studio, those AI powered agents to your app, so that your customers can get the benefits of AI. It can answer their questions, their resolve their queries accordingly. So one of the recent accident that I had with Zomato. So basically my order got a little bit of late, so I contacted their support. So I was greeted by the chat GPT of their own. So they have used this kind of LLM in their own customer support. So you can of course integrate them into your own projects, developer based projects. You can integrate them in your production lines, in your production ready apps. So basically it can engage with customers, employees in multiple languages across websites, of course, in at different platforms like mobile apps, websites, in Facebook, and in fact in Microsoft Teams or any other channel that is supported by the Azure bot service. So copilots can also be engaged with Microsoft Teams, or I could say Microsoft 365 if your company is using. So it can be integrated there also. It can answer the questions and queries in multiple languages, and you can fed your own knowledge base into its as knowledge base, so that you can go ahead and have a better, or I would say better copilot. So you can easily create those copilots in the Copilot Studio. That is the power of the Copilot Studio provided by Microsoft. So you don't need any specific data scientists or developers. So you can basically integrate those Copilot Studio into your sales help, support issues, opening hours, and store information. So basically, if a customer is bringing a specific query regarding how your store is working, or might be how your business is working accordingly. So you can integrate that using Copilot Studio. You can also include basic knowledge bases using employee health and vacation benefits. Let's say if I am working in X company, so it might include a basic PDF as knowledge source, that yeah, these are the following benefits that are provided to our employees, these are the following vacations that are provided throughout the year, and the following health benefits. So what I would do is, if I had any question, I would go to my Microsoft Teams, or maybe any of the conversational AI that is provided by my company X. So I would go ahead and ask that, hey, are there any vacations that are being provided on Diwali? So that Copilot will go back into its knowledge source that is being provided as a PDF, and it would grab that content and give me that, yeah, there are two holidays that are being provided. So these can also be integrated in enterprise level applications. And then we also have public health tracking information, common employee questions for businesses. So basically, if your business is doing something, let's say audit work, or might be some other work, so employee questions can be from regarding independence, or might be for stock trading. So you can basically ask those questions to the Copilot, and it will answer you accordingly. So that is the power of Copilot. So Microsoft Copilot Studio is basically a graphical and low-code tool for both creating a custom Copilot and including automation with Power Automate, and extending a Copilot for Microsoft 365, as I mentioned, with your own enterprise data and scenarios. So as I said, you can bring your own data, bring your own scenarios as the knowledge base of these Copilots, as these for these LLMs, so that it can cohere better to your needs, better to your queries that are being provided. So if I let's say bring GPT 3.5, and out of nowhere I integrate it in my application, so it will definitely have some issues. Like if I ask some particular question, like let's say I ask that, I am having a dental surgery, would that be covered in my employee health insurance? So that won't be it won't be able to answer that, because it does not have that information, which is not a public information, that yeah, this company covers that in their employee health benefit. So just okay, sorry. So yeah, so this would help, of course. And you can integrate that specific knowledge base into the Copilot Studio and into your LLM, so that it can give the specific answer related to these let's say we took the example of dental surgery. So it would go back into the database, the knowledge base, and it would check that yeah, this dental surgery is not provided in the health insurance plan. So it would give out the answer that yeah, this is not covered in your plan. So one of the standout features of Copilot Studio is this ability to bring connect to other data sources, either using pre-built or custom plugins. Some of the pre-built plugins that are available are in the Copilot Studio, or you can also build custom plugins to connect your own data. This flexibility basically helps users to create and orchestrate logics, and ensure that Copilot experiences are both powerful and intuitive. So if you bring your own data, if you bring your own data that is being needed to connect by connectors, the Copilot Studio would help a lot by bringing that experience. So the platform's low-code experience, of course, puts the power of AI at the user's fingertips. You don't need a specific data scientist, data engineer to bring out the whole pipelining process of AI and ML and data, so that to bring just manufacture a basic pipeline process. So it is a low-code experience. You can build your own copilots, you can build your own agents, so that you can integrate them into your own applications. It is also, of course, accessible to the people without extensive technical backgrounds. So basically, these are some of the Copilot Studio you can access by using the following some of the services that are using the web app copilotstudio.microsoft.com. Otherwise, you can access it using the Teams app as an employee. If you are integrated with the Copilot Studio by your enterprise, you can access that Copilot Studio from your Teams application. For that, your organization must be in terms with the Copilot Studio. They must have purchased an enterprise license, and you would be able to use that. So it is available as a both as a standalone web app and a discrete app within Teams. Most of the functionality between the two is the same, of course. However, there might be some reasons to choose one version according to your need. So it is a trade-off, of course, but you can integrate into your app enterprise applications, just like Microsoft Teams. So this is the one of the Copilot Studios. So you can build your own agent. You can extend Microsoft Copilot. So basically, Copilot Studio is also available with the Microsoft 365 suite. So all of your SharePoint services that are available, either PowerPoint or Excel or all the 365 services, Microsoft Copilot Studio would be included in that. Also, the connected platforms such as Azure AI Studio, the cognitive services, bot frameworks, and Power Platforms AI models are also available with the Copilot Studio. So basically, you can build your own agent, train your custom agents, build your own data connectors, use existential data connectors. So it would help there, of course. Now we are going to talk about the knowledge sources that are there in the Copilot Studio. So, what are knowledge sources? Let me tell that. So, basically, knowledge sources are basically the base on which the LLM work. So, as I gave my example of a company covering a dental surgery in their employee health benefit, so a simple or a generic LLM won't know that yeah, this dental surgery would be covered in my employee benefit. It is a specific company information. It is a private information. So, for that, a knowledge sources or a knowledge base is required. So in the case of the Microsoft Copilot Studio, a knowledge source is required. You can basically act in concert with the generative answers. Knowledge sources act as the sheet music for generative answers using enterprise data from Power Platform, Dynamics 365 data, websites, and external systems. So your copilots can provide that relevant information and insights for your end users. If you are having a particular policy for your customers or might be your users end users, so you can include that as a knowledge source from different data connectors that are provided. So it can either be Power Platform or might be Dynamic 365 data or website or external system. So Copilot can help from that data to provide more relevant or more sophisticated information to your end user. It ultimately enhances, enriches the experience. So yeah, that's it. So basically, next we are going to talk about that. Yeah, published copilots that contain knowledge use the configured knowledge sources to ground the published copilot. Knowledge can be incorporated at the copilot level in the knowledge page or at the topic level with the generative answers node in the copilot topic. Knowledge sources can be incorporated into copilot during their initial creation, added after the copilot is created, or added to a generative answers topic node. So this is how you can basically bring your own knowledge source. Knowledge source is necessary, I would say. If you are bringing your own data, your copilot would be much more intuitive. It would give more coherent answers. It would increase the overall experience for your end user. Now we are going to talk about the supported knowledge sources in the Copilot Studio so that you can bring your own data accordingly. So these are the following source knowledge sources that are available. So that is public website, documents, SharePoint, Dataverse, and enterprise data using Microsoft Data Graph connectors. So all of these are internal sources except for the public website, which is an external source. So the basic enhance of the data is basically you can bring all of these data as your knowledge source if you are having some specific documents. As I said, for the employee health benefits, you can bring out a document that are following are the diseases that are being covered in the employee health insurance. So you can provide it as a document. Then there are SharePoint data. If your company is hosting the data on the SharePoint Microsoft 365, then it can also be integrated into as a knowledge source into the Microsoft Copilot. Then there is Dataverse. So Dataverse can also be connected using, and it uses retrieval augmented generative technique, that is RAG techniques, in Dataverse to return the accurate results. Then there is enterprise data using Microsoft Graph Connectors. So Graph Connectors is where your organization data is indexed by Microsoft Search. So basically the number of inputs that are supported is for public website it is 4 public URLs. Let's say x.com, Microsoft.com. The documents are limited by Dataverse file storage allocation. So the storage allocation will be depending upon your enterprise license. The SharePoint is 4 URLs per generative answer topic node. For each topic node, there are 4 URLs that are allowed. For Dataverse, there are 2 Dataverse knowledge sources and up to 15 tables per knowledge source. So basically, 30 tables across the knowledge sources are allowed. And for the Microsoft Graph connectors, 2 per custom copilot, it is allowed. So authentication is not required in the case of a public website and document, but for the SharePoint, Dataverse, and enterprise data using Graph connectors, copilots basically users Microsoft Entra ID authentication, which was earlier known as Active Directory. So the authentication is done by that. For public website and documents, you can just bring the URLs and the documents and upload them, and it would use it as a knowledge source. Next, we are going to talk about integrating a voice enabled copilot with omnichannel for customer service. So if you are having a customer service channel, so you can also integrate a voice enabled copilot, which will help you solve customer queries, help you bring out more of the features of your platform. So yeah, these are the following steps. So to create and test that voice features and integration between Copilot Studio and Omnichannel, you have to first configure your Omnichannel for customer service app. You can just see integrate a Copilot Studio bot. You should be using a Copilot Studio bot for your customer service app to be integrated by Omnichannel. So next you have to create a Copilot in your new environment, and then you have to do that using the voice template. If you are using and creating a voice Copilot, so you have to use a voice template. Then add, configure, and edit the voice related settings for the Copilot. Then voice settings could be regarding what of the voices that you are willing to use for your Copilot. Then you have to connect your Copilot to Omnichannel for customer service. Then publish your Copilot and then configure voice functionality in Omnichannel for customer service. So you can just go ahead and configure your Omnichannel for customer service app, create your Copilot, configure your voices, and then connect that Copilot to Omnichannel and then configure the voice functionality in the Omnichannel for customer service. By using that way, you can integrate voice enabled Copilots for your own customer applications. Let's say if you are using IVR service until now, it can be backed by using Microsoft Copilot, and that Copilot can be built in the Copilot Studio itself. It is a much powerful tool which can be used to uplift your enterprise application. The next we are going to talk about is using prompt modification to provide custom instructions to your Copilot. So this is one of the interesting topics that can be used to enhance the answer of your Copilot, enhance the overall quality of the outputs that are being presented. So yeah, prompt modification basically allows you to expand the capabilities of these generated answers, then or boosted conversations by adding custom instructions. So basically, it shows you how to create a custom instruction to your Copilot to get the desired response. These response, if it was generic, it can be made more specific if your prompt is modified accordingly. So you can provide the Copilot with context, instructions, or other information relevant to your use case. You can also describe the Copilot's personality, define what they should and shouldn't answer, define the format of the responses. This is one of the interesting aspect of integrating a Copilot. So if you are integrating a Copilot, you can describe what they should answer. You can add the context. So if I am asking that uh, how to buy out a specific thing, so if I add context accordingly, it would give out a more relevant answer to the user, to the end user. If my food delivery app is the Copilot in my food delivery app is provided with the context that this Copilot is particularly for food delivery system, so it would be able to provide more insights, more things according to your end user's question or input. Next, you can also include instructions accordingly that if the customer is asking for this particular discount, then you can ask basically answer them this, and then other information that is relevant to your use case. It can be totally dependent upon you. Then you can also include what they should and shouldn't answer. So if I would like that no, my Copilot shouldn't say that no, sorry, we can't help you. So you can include that you should never say no, and you can define the format of the responses, that how the responses are being tailored according to the customer need. So this is one of the things that helps. Prompt modification helps in the uplifting of the Copilot overall, that how it helps. Prompt modification also helps in the implementation of responsible AI. Responsible AI is one of the principles that is being followed by Microsoft Copilot and the using the Azure Responsible AI dashboard and Studio. What it helps is, it helps that the answers or the responses that are being generated by LLMs should follow all the responsible AI principles, and accordingly it should adhere to the instructions that are provided by the user, and it should be according to the user's needs and how the enterprises look upon the LLM or the Copilot or the basically the AI model. The next thing that we are going to talk about are the best practices for custom instructions. So these are some of the best practices. I have included a few of them here. So let's talk about the first one. It is being specific. Custom instructions should be clear and specific so that the copilot knows exactly what to do. You should avoid vague and ambiguous language that could lead to confusion or incorrect responses. So if you would provide a vague or ambiguous language, so the model might hallucinate, it might provoke, it might generate confused responses, it might generate bogus responses. So custom instructions should be clear, it should be specific, it should be pinpointed according to what you are seeking from the copilot or the AI model. Then the next thing is use examples. You can provide, of course, examples to illustrate your instructions and help the copilot understand that what are your expectations, what are you seeking, what are the answers that you are bringing out from the AI model. So examples help the copilot generate accurate and relevant responses according to the need of the end user. So this helps a lot in the prompt modification process. The next thing is keep it simple. So you should avoid overloading your custom instructions with too many complex logics. So it would definitely gonna confuse the copilot, it is gonna confuse the AI model. The model will hallucinate, it would generate, again as I said, bogus responses. So keep your instructions simple and straightforward. Don't use too many placeholder words. Be specific, be straightforward so that the copilot can process them effectively. The next thing is give the copilot an out. So give the copilot an alternative path for when it is unable to complete the assigned task. So, for example, here's the example of when a user asks for the question, you might include response with not found if the answer isn't present. This alternative path helps the copilot avoid generating false responses. So, if I am having a food delivery app and my order is stuck between the process or in the pipelining process, so in let so the a customer will ask that, hey, where is my order? So if you have included that you have to answer to the customer's responses, questions and queries, the copilot will automatically generate some bogus thing. It would generate some hallucinate and generate something that, yeah, the order is being prepared, although the restaurant hasn't even accepted the order. So you should include that, yeah, I cannot basically give an answer to that. You can allow your copilot for that. So it helps avoid generating false responses, which helps overall uplifting of the customer experience. The last time I contacted that AI model, it said that, yeah, your food is being picked up by the delivery partner. Although it was at the restaurant itself, I called the restaurant. So it basically gave me a false sense of hope that, yeah, my food is being picked up. But when I called the restaurant said that, yeah, they haven't even picked up the food yet. How it is in the transit. So it is one of the things that this would help, that give your copilot an out. It should be able to do what needs to be done. The next thing is test and refine. It is important to test your custom instructions thoroughly to ensure they are working as intended. So testing is one of the most important process so to include in your pipelining process. Adjust as needed to improve the accuracy and effectiveness of your copilot's responses. So if you are using the prompt modification techniques, make sure that they are tested properly. You have to refine that accordingly, as I said, using the following use cases of is being specific and using examples, keeping it simple, and give the copilot an out. So testing and refining is a overall coherent process of following instructions. So please do that if you are integrating your copilot and giving the prompt modification techniques. So test that thoroughly on a basically a test audience, or might be your own alpha testing users. So for the alpha testing, you can use and adjust the responses accordingly. Then in the beta testing, you can test them on the end user and basically act according to their responses or according to their feedback. So take the feedback, define those prompts, and then again, it would help the copilot a lot into bringing out the best of it. So next thing we are going to talk about is creating an agent that you can chat over your data. So before that, the agent lifecycle is as you can see here. So basically, you can create your an agent, chat over knowledge, create specific topics, then actions and plugins, multiple channels that are available, then you have to monitor and improve, and then you can extend with Azure. So basically we are going to talk about each of them in detail. So how we can do that is, basically you have to create your own agent using the Copilot Studio, chat over the knowledge base that we have talked about, that you have to provide a knowledge source if you want your Copilot to be more specific, more accurate, more better in giving out the responses and outputs. So chat over that knowledge basis, create the specific topics. So we are taking the examples of food delivery app, so I would create some of these specific topics, let's say undelivered products, orders, or might be restaurant rejected orders, or might be no delivery partners assigned. So I have to create a specific topic so that my Copilot would be able to answer those specific problems according to the topic. It must not answer any problem vaguely. It ultimately degrades the end customer's experience. Then there is actions and plugins, those plugins that you can integrate in your Copilot using Copilot Studio. Multiple channels is how you can integrate your Copilot into multiple channels. As you can see, here is Copilot, Teams, 365 apps, or Slack, or might be any other website or channels that you can integrate your agent. So agent helps in that also, that you can integrate that custom Copilot into any of the desired channels. Let's say if you want to integrate that Copilot into your Slack community, so you can do that. Then the next thing that comes is monitor and improve. So you have to monitor the performance, as we talked in just the previous slide, that you have to monitor and improve the performance so that it could give out the best. You have to just look out how the Copilot is performing, how the responses are being generated, because in the end it is a large language model. It might hallucinate, it might generate false responses, it might generate bogus responses. So you have to monitor your performance of the model, of the Copilot, and then improve accordingly. If needed, do prompt modification. If needed, improve your knowledge sources. If needed, you can include more information with and context to your Copilot so that it can give out the better results. And then the next thing is extend with Azure. So you can basically go ahead and ask Azure, use Azure in your application so that you can extend that Copilot up to the across the limits that are being, the limit is the sky basically. So you can extend that model with the Azure. For your information, if you are a student, Azure is providing free $100 credits. You just have to search and go ahead and search Azure for students. It would provide $100 free credit pass for Azure. So you can go ahead and try how Azure works, how you can integrate that Copilot into your Azure hosted applications. You would not be needing a debit or credit card. You would have to verify your identity using educational institution ID card or educational institution email ID. So by using that, you can get $100 free credit on Azure. So you can try out integrating Copilot Studio into your applications and create an agent, and then use it to host on your website, and then extend your website using the Azure. So the next thing is generative answers. So enable multi-turn chat over your own internal and external knowledge sources and sites with generative answers. We talked about it, how you can integrate your internal knowledge sources that are specific to your own company, or might be your own enterprise or organization. As we can see here, this is one of the SharePoints. So you can integrate that SharePoint accordingly on your Copilot, in the Copilot Studio on the agent. So let's say www.resco.net, it is a public website and it is included in the Copilot Studio's knowledge. Agents can answer thousands of questions out of the box in seconds. You can even pull out from an API or other backend systems and enable generative chat over it. So you can basically integrate it on your website, integrate it in your application, integrate it in your website, web apps. It is basically an awesome app so that to elevate your end user experience. If you are yet to get the power of AI, how AI is transforming the lives, how AI is transforming how the things are working. So it is one thing you can take use of the Copilot Studio. You can try that out at the kk.ms/Copilot Studio or copilotstudio.microsoft.com. Then the next thing is file upload for the generative answers. So you can upload files for use with generative answers to Dataverse securely. Text-based documents hosted and indexed for the use of Gen answers. So Dataverse helps in the indexing of uh, the documents that are being provided and uploaded, and then it can be used as a knowledge source. Support for numerous formats, as I said, such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDFs, text, HTML, CSVs, XMLs, EPUBs, RTFs, JSONs, and many more. It also helps you provide node level control. So there are numerous formats that are provided. So you can upload any type of file in your knowledge source. Then the node level control is provided so that you can refine your prompts accordingly, how each node and each topic is behaving according to the customer's need. So this is the file upload for generative answers. Next, we are going to talk about generative actions. So actions and plugins are available. So you can add plugins to allow your agent to converse over your APIs. So add plugins based on 1,000 plus pre-built connectors, or create ones for the custom APIs, or combine them together in the complex workflows. So this is one of the things that are provided as a visual. So you can see at this snippet. So you can step is the choose an action. So there are following actions that are provided, that yeah, delete a row might be in the Excel, run a script in the Excel might be, or get a row, run a script, get forecast for today, or maybe some you can bring out connector, custom connector. There are also flows and soils and dataverse. So add plugins based on the 1,000 pre-built connectors, as I said, or create ones for your custom APIs. Combine them in the complex workflows. Conversation is automatically generated to fill in the required inputs and run plugins. Call a plugin explicitly from a topic, or use the generative actions public preview to let your agent choose when to call a plugin. So these plugins can be integrated accordingly, so that it can go ahead and pull up action. Let's say if my organization is using a particular plugin, that yeah, these are the following employees of my organization. If you are having a small organization, that it might not be useful. But if you are having an enterprise level of organization, there might be 5,000 rows of the employees. Then if you would like to add an employee, or might be delete an employee file from your rows, maybe they left, or maybe one of the new employees got hired, so you can use that using actions and plugins. You can plug in that your organizational database, and basically you can derive an action that yeah, delete a row. If my employee is being is leaving the organization, so you can delete a row. Or might be if one of the employees is joining the organization, you can get a row. So these actions and plugins are provided in the Copilot Studio, as we talked about here. So the file upload is there for knowledge sources. There is also actions and plugins, as we talked about. Then there are generative answers. So you can also include websites in the knowledge services. Uh, it basically shows how this Copilot Studio works. So now let's talk about Copilot Studio security and governance. It is one of the important aspect of using Copilot Studio. So Copilot Studio follows the Security Development Life Cycle (SDL), which is a set of strict practices that support security assurance and compliance requirements. You can learn more at about Microsoft Security Development Lifecycle practices. The Copilot Studio service is governed by the commercial license agreements, including the Microsoft product terms and data protection addendum. For the location of data processes, you can refer to the geographical availability of documentation. It totally depends upon on which region you are contemplating the Copilot. So the Microsoft Trust Center is also the primary source of Power Platform compliance information. So if you are using any Power Platform apps or Copilot Studio, which is a part of Power Platform suite, you can go to the Microsoft Trust Center, and which is the primary resource, and go ahead and learn about compliance offerings. Furthermore, Power Platform has an extensive set of data loss prevention features, that is DLP, to help you manage the security of the data. Learn You can learn how to configure your data loss prevention policies for Copilots in your organization. Then the Copilot Studio follows several security and governance controls processes, including geographical data residency, data loss prevention, multiple standards certifications, regulatory compliance, environment routing, and regional customization. So that is that if you are residing in a funny, or I would say in a different geographic area where the data policies or the data rules are different, you can govern accordingly to that. There are also data loss prevention rules that are being put together so that your Copilot can behave accordingly. There are also multiple standard certifications that are standard of how your data is protected. There are also regulatory compliance according to your own region or your own country of how your data is being handled, or how the compliance is being regulated across the country, across the region. Then there is also environment routing, how your environment is there, how you are routing the data. And there are regional customization. So if you are having specific customization in how your data is handled, how your security and how your assurances are handled across the Copilot, so you can also do that. So you can see more about that in the geographic data residency in Copilot Studio article, and details on how data is handled in the Copilot Studio. So you might be worried that how your data is being processed by an LLM, which is developed by Microsoft. So if you are worried about that, go ahead and see all the regulatory compliance. These are all standard rules that are being followed by the industry. There are also DLP techniques that are being governed. Also, how data is handled in your region. There are also regulatory compliances with the governments. So that was it for the Copilot Studio session. I would suggest go ahead and try Microsoft Copilot Studio. Build your own agent. You can build custom Copilot and integrate in your own application, in your own web app. So these are some of the resources that are here. These are the following links that you can check. That is, try Microsoft Copilot Studio. There are also some code Copilot Studio snippets. There is this implementation guide for the studio, the prompt library on how you can build your custom prompts. We discussed about the prompt modification techniques, that is also there. That next is AI builder prompting guide, basically how you can build specific prompts so that your output can be better. So these all are the resources, some of the resources on how you can integrate the Copilot into your own platform. So Copilot is a powerful tool. I would suggest, if you are interested, then definitely go ahead and check out how these resources are working. And that was it for the sessions. If you would like have any questions, you can drop it in the chat box that is readily available for you. I would try to answer that. But yeah, just go ahead and check out copilotstudio.microsoft.com. It has all the resources there, and you can use them.